Due to the fact that we've got a couple of morning and afternoon games tomorrow, I'm going to do the preview tonight before I turn in because that's something that I do. You have games that start at 10 a.m. It's not much. There's not much point in me posting a preview for a game that starts in like an hour. So rather than get up at 9 o'clock, post it. I'm doing it now. That's more for new subscribers who may be like, why is he posting videos in the middle of the night? That's why I do it on weekends. First up, Rangers against Boston. All right, Boston, you survived that game against St. Louis, and you did pretty well. Now you got the Rangers coming to town, and the Rangers are tricky because the Rangers, kind of a loose team, and they've won a couple in a row, so they're going to be pretty loose coming into Boston as well, and the pressure's on Boston to win this one, absolutely. 20-20-7 is the record of the New York Rangers. 27-16-5 is Boston's record. Now, Boston will know that Toronto lost tonight, obviously, and then Montreal's put some pressure on them. Montreal is sitting tied with Boston right now. So both of them could pass Toronto before the night is out tomorrow and plunk themselves into second and third, which would mean Boston and Montreal would be the playoff matchup, which is a bad matchup for Boston. You have to have watched the history series to know. But anyways. So I'm already thinking ahead and going, crap. Zibanejad leads the Rangers in scoring, 15 goals, 27 assists. Kreider, 22 goals, 15 assists. Hayes, 10 goals, 23 assists. VC, 11 goals, 13 assists. Zuccarello, 8 goals, 14 assists. Pionk, 5 goals, 15 assists. Hedel, 8 goals, 9 assists. Fast, 7 goals, 10 assists. Nemesnikov, 4 goals, 12 assists. Buchnevich, 9 goals and 6 assists. Rounds out your top 10 for the New York Rangers. On the Boston side, Pastrnak, 27 goals, 28 assists. Marchand, 18 goals, 34 assists. Bergeron, 14 goals, 26 assists. Krejci, 10 goals, 30 assists. Krug first, 5 goals, 27 assists for him. DeBrusk, 14 goals, 4 assists. Corrali, 6 goals, 8 assists. Backus, 5 goals, 8 assists for him. Grzelcyk, 1 goal, 12 assists. And Danton Heinen rounds out your top 10 with 5 goals and 7 assists for the Boston Bruins. On the goaltending side of things, I don't think anybody's confirmed yet. Okay, so just one goaltender confirmed for tomorrow, and that's Boston's Tuukka Rask. It'll probably be Lundqvist for the Rangers. He's 14-12-7, 3.04 goals against, 908 save percentage. Georgiev would be the backup, 6-8 with a 3.43 goals against, 894 save percentage and 1 shutout. On the Boston side of things, with Rask as the starter, Halak's the backup. He's 13-8-2. 2.46 goals against, 920 save percentage, and 3 shutouts. Rask is 14-8-3, 2.42 goals against, also a 920 save percentage and a single shutout. So Rask is caught up to Halak, and what's kind of happened is Rask has gone this way, Halak's gone this way. Now they've met in the middle. I expect Rask's numbers to eclipse Halak's from here. And this is sort of what happens. Rask starts slow, and then he picks it up. Over their last 10, the Rangers are 4-6-0. They won 2 in a row. On the road, they're 7-14-2, which is a rough record. Versus the East, rough there too. They're 10-12-4. Boston 7-2-1 in their last 10. They won their last game. As I said, a solid win over St. Louis. At home, they're 17-6-1 versus the East. They're 16-12-2. And again, with the Leafs losing tonight, that should be kind of a little bit of oomph that they have for tomorrow. Let's see what happens, though, right? Okay, next up. Winnipeg. The Jets are going to go in tomorrow and play the Dallas Stars. Now, Dallas hasn't had a win in over a week, and as a fan of the Stars, I'm getting kind of antsy. And when we're talking about my top 3 favorite teams, they're in danger. I'm going to be honest. There are points in time where it's not that I stop cheering for teams. I have moments where, like in the late 90s, this happened with Boston. It happened with Vancouver, kind of, sort of, just before the Naslund era, when it was Messier and all that crap was going down. When you don't stop cheering for a team, you just say, I'm feeling a lot of angst right now with this team. I'm just going to go ahead and step out. I'm not going to pay much attention. There have been years where I don't watch Canuck games, where I watch other teams, and people are like, oh, did you watch the Canucks game? And I'm like, no. They lost. Figured. And that's as close as I get to just, falling out. And I'm not there with Dallas yet, but that loss to LA, that was tough. And now they've got 31-14-2 Winnipeg coming to town, and Dallas is now at 23-21-4. That's not a record that's good enough. Scoring leaders for Winnipeg: Scheifele, 9 goals, 51 assists. Or Wheeler, 9 goals, 51 assists. Scheifele's next with 25 goals, 33 assists. Connor, 18 goals, 19 assists. Laine, 25 goals and 9 assists now. Bufflin, 4 goals, 25 assists. Little, 11 goals, 18 assists. Ehlers, 15 goals, 12 assists. Morrissey, 5 goals, 21 assists. Trouba, 4 goals, 19 assists. Brandon Tanev, 11 goals, 9 assists for him. And on the Dallas side of things, their leading scorers: Tyler Seguin, 17 goals, 26 assists. Radulov, 14 goals, 26 assists. Jamie Benn, 18 goals, 15 assists. Klingberg, 6 goals, 17 assists. Spezza, 6 goals, 15 assists. Heiskanen, 9 goals, 11 assists. Lindell, 7 goals, 11 assists. Faxa, 7 goals, 9 assists. Janmark, 3 goals, 12 assists. And there's Dickinson in the top 10 with 5 goals and 6 assists to round out the top 10 for the Dallas Stars. Goaltenders, I expect Hellebuck, but they could go with Brisebois. Brisebois has an excellent record. Hellebuck's 21-13-3 with a 2.82 goals against, 910 save percentage, 0 shutouts. Brisebois 10-1-1, 2.01 goals against, 943 save percentage, and a shutout. On the Dallas side of things, I kind of expect Bishop in this one. Hudobin's now 8-9-2, 2.46 goals against, 922 save percentage, and a shutout. Bishop's 15-12-2, 2.38 goals against, 921 save percentage, and 2 shutouts for him. So I'm not really concerned with which way Dallas falls with this one, even though Hudobin's record's at 8-9. I don't put that on Hudobin. I put that on the team in front of him. Over their last 10, it's a different story there. Winnipeg is 7-3-0. They've won 4 in a row. On the road, they're 13-8 versus the West. They're 29-1. Dallas, they're 4-5-1. They've lost 4 in a row in those last 10. At home, they're 14-8-2, and versus the West, they're 14-10-2. It's looking like another long season for Dallas fans, and I'm close to just saying, I'm all right. How many games are on? Okay, Dallas, I'll mildly pay attention. They're just going to blow it. I'm really close to that. That being said, with Winnipeg being the opposition tomorrow, I'll pay close attention to that because I want to see how Winnipeg plays. We do have Nashville playing as well, and I want to see if that point spread between the two grows, stays the same, or what happens there. Next up, Pittsburgh. So the Penguins coming off of a win, and a necessary win because it felt like momentum was going against them. And if they lost going into a game in Vegas, I would definitely be taking Vegas in this one. That being said, it is a back-to-back, so odds are, if Vegas comes out strong in this one, Vegas has a great home record, they could very well knock off the Penguins. The Penguins are 26-15-6 now, and they're right in that dogfight for first in the division or the second wildcard spot. That's where we're at now. Vegas is 28-17-4, and they're pretty ensconced in that number 3 spot in their division. They can look at number 2 and they can fight for second with San Jose. It's starting to look like Calgary's too far ahead for Vegas to catch them, but we've still got a lot of time left. And a 28-17-4 record is pretty solid for Vegas. Scoring leaders for Pittsburgh: Crosby, 20 goals, 36 assists is their leading scorer. Kessel, 19 goals, 33 assists. Malkin, 14 goals, 37 assists. Gensel, 24 goals, 21 assists for him. Letang, 11 goals, 28 assists. Hornqvist, 15 goals, 11 assists. Rust has 11 goals, 11 assists. Simone now has 6 goals, 13 assists. And Pearson and Brassard both have 8 goals, 16 assists. Honorable mention: Dumoulin has a goal and 13 assists, and Pettersson has 14 assists. So they could very well be knocking either Pearson or Brassard off this board for the next time that I do a preview for Pittsburgh. Vegas, their leading scorer is Tuck with 15 goals, 22 assists. Marchessault, 14 goals, 17 assists. Carlson still with 15 goals, 15 assists. And if you're worried about Carlson not producing, the one thing I'll say is he is still doing very well with his defensive numbers. The team's record's very solid. I don't think that Gerard Gallant has any concern about it, and I don't think it'll affect George McPhee too much in his decision about whether or not to keep Carlson around. I think the plan is to keep him around long term. The one thing that putting up less goals and assists does for him is it does drive down the asking price he's going to have, and the amount that Vegas ultimately has to pay to keep him. Smith, 9 goals, 18 assists. Eakin, 13 goals, 12 assists. Pacioretty, 12 goals, 12 assists. Theodore, 5 goals, 16 assists. Miller, 2 goals, 15 assists. Nate Schmidt, 4 goals, 12 assists. And Reeves with 8 goals and 7 assists rounds out your top 10 for Vegas. Goaltenders, Murray played tonight, so I expect a Smith tomorrow. DeSmith's 12, 8, and 4. 2.53 goals against, 921 save percentage, 2 shutouts. Murray is 14, 6, and 1, 2.86 goals against, 912 save percentage, and 3 shutouts. So his save percentage went up a point based on his play tonight against Arizona. And so yeah, he's got 14 wins. DeSmith's going for his 13th tomorrow. I expect Fleury. A, they're against the Penguins, and B, they almost never play Subban. Fleury's 26, 12, and 4, 2.48 goals against, 911 save percentage, 6 shutouts. Subban's 2 and 5, 2.95 goals against, 903 save percentage. Over their last 10, they're close to one another. Pittsburgh 7 and 3, they won their last game. On the road, they're 13, 7, and 4 now. Versus the West, they're 15, 6, and 1, which is really strong. Vegas 8 and 2 over their last 10. They lost their last game. At home, they're 15, 4, and 3, which is an excellent record. And versus the East, they're 11, 9, and 2. So this should be an excellent game. It is a matchup between a team that wears actual gold and a team that wears marigold on their jerseys. So I anticipate a pretty close game, and Fleury probably coming up big. And there's probably part of Matt Murray saying, I really would have liked to have played against Vegas. Because, Murray versus Fleury just feels like that's sort of the way that's supposed to go. But coach had other plans. All right, next up, Philly, the Flyers, kind of playing up the string, right? They're 18, 23, and 6. So they've won 18, they've lost 29. Yeah, they're playing out the string. And they're in against the Montreal Canadiens, who are 27, 17, and 5. Philly and Montreal have a very long sort of bloody past between these two teams. And whenever these two teams meet, you always get an interesting result. So I'm anticipating another interesting result between these two tomorrow night. Between a team that's been cold, but has got a couple of wins lately, and a team that honestly has been pretty darn hot. Leading scorers for Philly, Giroux, 14 goals, 38 assists. Voracek, 11 goals, 27 assists. Couturier, 19 goals and 19 assists for him now. Konechny, 11 goals, 13 assists. Simmons, 15 goals, 7 assists. James Van Riemsdyk, 11 goals, 10 assists. Lawton, 7 goals, 11 assists. Gostisbehere, 5 goals, 13 assists. Provorov, 4 goals, 13 assists. And Nolan Patrick with 7 goals, 8 assists. Rounds out your top 10. On the Montreal side, Domi now has 15 goals, 28 assists. Tatar, 16 goals, 20 assists. Drouin, 13 goals, 22 assists. Petrie, 10 goals, 24 assists. Danault, 8 goals, 25 assists. Gallagher, 19 goals, 10 assists. Shaw, 11 goals, 13 assists. Kotkaniemi, 6 goals, 17 assists. Lehkonen, 7 goals, 15 assists. And Paul Byron, of course, suspended. This is the second game of the 3-game suspension. 10 goals, 8 assists for him. Goaltenders, it's going to be Carter Hart. He's 5-5 and 1, 2.72 goals against, 915 save percentage. It's Hockey Night in Canada. It's in Montreal. I can't see how you don't play Carter Hart. McKenna should be the backup. He's at 1-5 and 1, 3.99 goals against, 892 save percentage. Stolars is on a conditioning stint right now in the minors. So it's going to be really interesting to see once he's done that, do they just waive McKenna? Do they send Hart to the minors since they don't have to waive him? What happens there? Stolars is 2-3 and 2 this year, 3.9 goals against, 880 save percentage. So not a great record or save percentage for Stolars, but he's much younger than McKenna. So if it's between the two of them, I'm pretty sure they go with Stolars. Goaltending for Montreal, I expect Niemi here because Price played tonight. Price is now 19, 13, and 4, 2.6 goals against, 914 save percentage, and 3 shutouts. He is finally starting to play like an all-star goaltender again. Niemi's 8-4 and 1, 3.63 goals against, 897 save percentage. Over their last 10, again, it's a tale of two cities on this one. Philly's 3-6 and 1, they've won 2 in a row. On the road, however, they're 8-13 and 3 versus the East, they're 9-14 and 3. The odds are against them. So yes, I'm wearing Philadelphia duds tonight, but again, I just try to go with different teams, and whether they win or they lose, I don't seem to have any influence over any of that. On the choked a moment pride there. Montreal, 7-3 over their last 10. They've won 4 in a row. At home, they're 13-9-2. Versus the East, they're 16-8-5. Really, all the numbers favor Montreal in this one. But it's a back-to-back. So, back-to-backs, they can be an excuse. Where you go, it's a back-to-back. So, we lost to Philly. We beat Columbus. These things even out. And we saw with Toronto tonight against Florida, these things can even out. Next up, Ottawa. The suddenly hot Ottawa Senators, who've won, I believe, 4 out of 5. And they've looked pretty solid and pretty loose. And that's what happens when you've lost a bunch of games, and it's not really a big deal. And you've got a bunch of high-profile players who are playing for new contracts. Can cause them to play a little bit better. They're 19-24-5 now. They're in against the 20-21-5 St. Louis Blues, who everybody's all of a sudden talking about how they're back in the race. I've seen articles on NHL.com. I've seen an article on the Hockey News. I think I've seen one somewhere else as well. But how St. Louis is right back in this. And all I can think is, they're not playing great. It's just Anaheim had a 12-game losing streak, which allowed everybody to catch them just because that's how gravity works. But if people want that narrative that St. Louis is all of a sudden really good, okay, but, I don't see it. I did. They had a few wins in a row there, but now they've had 2 losses in a row, and it sort of looks like the wheels have come off. Now, this is a good chance for them to get back on track because it's Ottawa, but that may have been where Carolina thought tonight, and that was a mistake. Ottawa's leading scorers, Stone, 22 goals, 28 assists. Duchesne, 20 goals, 26 assists. Chabot, 10 goals, 29 assists. Dzingel, 19 goals and 17 assists now for Ryan Dzingel. Tierney, 6 goals, 25 assists. Ryan, 10 goals, 19 assists. Bobby Ryan's contract may suck, but he's having a good year. White, 11 goals, 15 assists. Bodker, 5 goals, 21 assists. Tkachuk, 11 goals, 12 assists for him. And Zach Smith has 5 goals, 13 assists to round out the top 10 for Ottawa. On the St. Louis side of things, O'Reilly, 17 goals, 29 assists. Perron, 17 goals, 18 assists. Tarasenko, 15 goals, 14 assists. Shen, 9 goals, 16 assists. Schwartz, 3 goals, 17 assists. Dunn, 4 goals, 15 assists. Bozak, 6 goals, 12 assists. Pietrangelo, 5 goals, 12 assists. Steen, 6 goals, 9 assists. And Sundqvist with 8 goals and 6 assists rounds out your top 10 on the Blues side. Goaltenders, Nilsson won tonight. They've shown they'll play him in back-to-backs, but I think this is where Craig Anderson makes his return. Nilsson, 7-11 and 1, 2.76 goals against, 908 save percentage. His save percentage with the Senators is in the 920s. It's been fantastic. Anderson's 14, 13 and 3, 3.58 goals against, 905 save percentage, and a shutout. On the St. Louis side, you know what? I expect Binnington here. I do. He's 3-0 and 1 with a 1.55 goals against, 936 save percentage, and a shutout. Allen's 15, 15 and 4, 3.04 goals against, 897 save percentage, and a shutout. And I think Binnington's earned himself some more starts, just with his record and the way he's been playing. Over their last 10, Ottawa's now 4-5 and 1 with 2 wins in a row. On the road, they're now 7-15 and 1, so that's all gotten better. Versus the West, it's 7-8 and 3. Yeah, 7-15 and 1 is getting better. They had an abysmal record on the road up until a couple weeks ago. Now it's just kind of really bad, but it was worse. St. Louis is 5-4 and 1 in their last 10. They've lost 2 in a row, so they've won 5 out of their last 10. St. Louis is not charging up the standings. Other teams are falling down. At home, they're 11-13 and 2. They've got to get that together. And versus the East, they're 8-7 and 1. So the numbers mildly favor St. Louis, but Ottawa's just been a lot of fun to watch lately, and I don't think they're done being fun to watch. Next up, last one for this board anyways, is the Battle of Alberta. So this is the big one. This is the one that Albertans wait for, and it's here. 31-13 and 5 is Calgary's record. 23-21 and 3 is Edmonton's record. Now, when these teams meet in Edmonton, I've seen a couple of slaughters by the Oilers against the Flames, and we'll see how this turns out tomorrow. And I think the early part of this game is going to decide a lot. Remember, Calgary played tonight against Detroit, so Edmonton's going to want to jump on them early. Those first 10 minutes could be huge in this game. That being said, if it's tied going into the third, the Flames will very, very, very likely win because they're just so darn solid in the third period. Leading scorers for Calgary: Goudreau, 28 goals, 44 assists. Monahan, 26 goals, 33 assists. Tkachuk, 24 goals, 32 assists. Lindholm, 21 goals, 35 assists. Giordano, 10 goals, 39 assists. Backlund, 10 goals, 15 assists. Hanifin, 4 goals, 20 assists. Brody, 6 goals, 17 assists. Bennett, 9 goals, 10 assists. And Jankowski, 7 goals, 12 assists to finish out the top 10 for the Calgary Flames. On the Edmonton side, McDavid, 29 goals, 41 assists. Draisaitl, 24 goals, 32 assists. Nugent Hopkins, 15 goals, 29 assists. Nurse, 6 goals, 17 assists. Chason, 17 goals, 5 assists. Clefbaum, 3 goals, 12 assists. Kara, 3 goals, 11 assists now. Larson, 1 goal, 12 assists. Lucic, 4 goals, 7 assists. Has the scoring passed for Lucic now, or is he going to have a big night tomorrow night against Calgary? We'll see. Russell, 2 goals, 7 assists to round out the top 10 for Calgary. And 9 points to make the top 10 with Calgary. That is the lowest number of any team. I'm pretty sure that's league-wide, but it's definitely of any team on either board for tomorrow. Goaltenders. I expect Riddick, because Smith played tonight. It's going to be Riddick. Riddick, 17, 4-4, 2.5 goals against, 917 save percentage, and a shutout. Smith is now 14, 9-1, with a 3.04 goals against, 888 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. On the Edmonton side, I expect Koskinen. Koskinen's 14, 8-1, 2.65 goals against, 915 save percentage, and 3 shutouts. Talbot's 9-13-2, 3.17 goals against, 896 save percentage, and a single shutout. This is going to be quite the matchup. Over their last 10, Calgary's 8-1-1. They won their last game. On the road, they're 15-9, and versus the West, they're a very impressive 21-9-2. Whereas Edmonton's 5-5 now in their last 10. They've won 2 in a row. At home, they're 12-10-1. Versus the West, they're 15-15-2. This is Edmonton's chance, if they win tomorrow, to jump back into a playoff spot. And I think of the if it came down to them in Vancouver, I think they would probably knock Vancouver out of that spot. I do think that Edmonton could be a really fun second wild card. Because if you ended up with, say, Edmonton against Winnipeg, or especially Edmonton against Calgary in the first round, you're going to have a barn burner. Whichever two prairie teams you end up with, you're going to end up with a pretty fantastic first round matchup. And then you're guaranteed a Canadian team in the second round. So that's kind of fun too. Anyways, that finishes up board number 1. I got to grab board number 2. If you want a marquee matchup that might be a Stanley Cup preview, you got San Jose against Tampa. And there's a lot of potential Stanley Cup previews because, let's be honest, there's a lot of teams. This looks really wide open. As great a record as Tampa has, the run for a potential Stanley Cup looks wide open. There's 7 or 8 teams you could make a solid argument, hey, this team should win a Stanley Cup. And San Jose's definitely in that argument now. After a rough start to the season, they look solid. They're 28-14-7 right now. Vegas is going to be watching this game closely as they go in against Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay is 36-10-2. Fantastic record, especially considering they lost their last game and all. So now they're in double digits for losses. So Montreal's record of losses in a season is safe, but nobody's ever going to beat that. Scoring leaders. Burns, 9 goals, 43 assists, leads San Jose with 52 points. Couture, 17 goals, 26 assists. Erik Karlsson, 3 goals, 40 assists. How amazing would it be if Burns and Karlsson finished 1-2 in scoring for the San Jose Sharks? Hertl, 19 goals, 22 assists. Meyer, 18 goals, 23 assists. Pavelski, 26 goals, 14 assists. Evander Kane, 17 goals, 21 assists. LeBanc, 5 goals, 24 assists. Donskoy, 14 goals, 11 assists. Joe Thornton, 10 goals, 12 assists. Rounds out your top 10 there. Tampa, Kucherov, your leading scorer in the NHL, 22 goals, 54 assists. Point, 30 goals, 33 assists. Stamkos, 24 goals, 30 assists. Johnson, 18 goals, 16 assists. Hedman, 6 goals, 25 assists. Gourde, 11 goals, 18 assists. Miller, 7 goals, 19 assists. McDonough, 5 goals, 20 assists. Killorn, 10 goals, 14 assists. And Andre Palat, 7 goals, 12 assists. Rounds out your top 10 for them. And it is an impressive list. But notice, to make the top 10 for San Jose, it's 22 points. To make the top 10 for Tampa, it's 19. The depth is there for both teams. And this looks like it's going to be a really solid matchup. Goaltenders, I expect Jones. Okay, Martin Jones, you're going to keep your save percentage above 900, right? This is a huge test for that. He's 22-8-4, 2.72 goals against, 903 save percentage with a shutout. Dell is 6-6-3 with a 3.09 goals against, 891 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. It's a clear starter and backup there. On the Tampa side, I expect Vasilevsky. It's a huge game. Domingue is 16-4, 2.99 goals against, 905 save percentage. Vasilevsky, 19-6-2, trying to get to that 20-win mark. 2.48 goals against, 925 save percentage, and 3 shutouts for him. So this should be just awesome. Let's look at the records over the last 10, which they're both pretty good. San Jose's 8-2 over their last 10. They lost their last game. On the road, that's where it's a little bit suspect. They're 11-10-3 versus the East. They're 10-6-4. Tampa's 7-3 in their last 10, which is cold for them. They lost their last game. At home, they're 19-5, and versus the West, they're 12-6-2. So Tampa, there's not really a whole lot there that I can pick apart. There really isn't. I do think they're kind of going through that mid-season sag that you can go through where your team just, you lose a few games here and then after the All-Star break, they start picking up steam again. It's perfectly normal during any given 82-game season. You're going to have those moments you're falling back. Next up, Anaheim. The Ducks, 20-19-9 in against the 18-22-7 New Jersey Devils. This is a matchup that's very interesting because Anaheim should be a playoff team. They really should be, and if they win this game, they're back in the playoffs. But they're in against a New Jersey team that, despite their absolutely awful record, a lot of that is their road record. Their home record isn't that bad. So we'll see which team shows up tomorrow night. The Ducks team that looks like they want to make the playoffs, or the Devils home team. Leading scorers for the Ducks, Getzlaf, 10 goals, 22 assists. His struggles have been greatly chronicled on this channel and elsewhere. Henrique, 9 goals, 17 assists. Raquel, 8 goals, 16 assists. Montour, 5 goals, 19 assists. Kasha, 11 goals, 9 assists. Ritchie, 6 goals, 14 assists. Silverberg, 12 goals, 7 assists. Devin Shore's on the board at 5 goals, 13 assists. Lindholm, 4 goals, 13 assists. And Sprong is on there as well with 6 goals and 7 assists. So that's your scoring for Anaheim. And it's a matter of Perry should be back apparently in the next few weeks. We'll see where he fits into this. On the New Jersey side, Palmieri, 22 goals, 16 assists. Hall, 11 goals, 26 assists. Heischer, 13 goals, 19 assists. Coleman, who's been coming on strong lately, 17 goals and 10 assists for him. Zajac, 11 goals, 16 assists. Severson, 6 goals, 17 assists. Bratt, 3 goals, 15 assists for him. Boyle, 12 goals, 5 assists. Vatanen, 4 goals, 13 assists. And Miles Wood with 5 goals, 11 assists. Rounds out your top 10 there. Goaltending, I expect Gibson because Johnson's the backup. 2-8, 3.36 goals against, 888 save percentage with a shutout. That's, of course, combined between St. Louis and Anaheim. Gibson, 16, 15, and 8. 2.68 goals against, 921 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. And yes, Duck fans everywhere will tell you he should be the Vezina winner. I can understand why other teams think that they have a better shot. Vasilevsky in Tampa, if he plays enough games. Anderson in Toronto as well. But I can understand where Anaheim fans are coming from. Because without Gibson's goaltending this year, this record is a heck of a lot scarier. For New Jersey, I expect Kincaid here. Blackwood played their last game, so I kind of expect Kincaid. Kincaid's 13, 14, and 6, 3.1 goals against, 899 save percentage with 3 shutouts. Blackwood's 5 and 3, 2.33 goals against, 930 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. Over their last 10, both of them are below 500 there. The Anaheim Ducks 1-5-4, and of course they won that last game. On the road, they're 10-12-1 versus East. They're 10-8-4. There's a lot of ouch in there. Over their last 10, New Jersey's 4-6. They've lost 2 in a row at home. They're 13-5-4 at home. If they were anywhere near good on the road, this is a team we'd be talking about as potential playoffs. Oh, they're not that far back. They've been awful on the road. That's why they are where they are. Versus the West, they're 8-5-4. So we'll see how that turns out for them tomorrow night. This is a turning point game for the Ducks. It's a game for New Jersey that should mean more than what it does. Really, honestly, and kind of truly. Next up, Kings. Speaking of teams that should be playing games that mean something, how about those Kings? They're in against the Avalanche, and the Avalanche haven't been very good lately. In fact, over their last 10, the Kings have been better than the Avalanche, which is insane. The Kings are 19-25-4. The Avalanche are 21-18-8. The Ducks have got to be a little bit happy because they've been winning enough lately that it looks like they might be catching a playoff spot. Look, the Ducks have, in their last 10 games, got six points. The Kings have 9. So they're slowly catching up to at least the Ducks, which would make Kings fans happy to finish ahead of the Ducks, considering the year they've had. Scoring leaders for the Kings: Kopitar, 13 goals, 18 assists. Brown, 12 goals, 16 assists. Doughty, 4 goals, 22 assists. Carter, 10 goals, 14 assists. Iafallo, 10 goals, 12 assists. Kovalchuk, 8 goals, 13 assists. Muzzin, 4 goals, 16 assists. And the Buzzards are circling, and apparently Muzzin's either on the market or every GM hopes he is. Toffoli, 7 goals, 11 assists. Adrian Kempe, 5 goals, 8 assists. Leipzig, 4 goals, 7 assists. Rounds out the top 10, 11 points. It shows that there's a lack of scoring in LA just in general. On the Colorado side, scoring has not been a problem, especially from the first line. Rantanen, 21 goals, 50 assists. McKinnon, 27 goals, 41 assists. Landeskog, 28 goals, 24 assists. And then it falls off. Barry's at 5 goals, 29 assists. Soderberg, 15 goals, 13 assists. Kerfoot, 7 goals, 17 assists. Compher, 10 goals, 9 assists. Calvert, 7 goals, 8 assists. I have Jost on the board, but I've got an asterisk there because he got sent down to the minors. They've decided he needs some more seasoning and some more time. He's got 6 goals and 9 assists this year. And Wilson, 8 goals and 6 assists for Colorado. So we'll see if moving Jost out of the lineup and putting somebody else in there helps. Goaltenders, I expect Quick here. Campbell played the last game. He's 6-9 with a 2.13 goals against, .932 save percentage, and a shutout. Quick is 8-11-3, 2.8 goals against, .907 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. On the Colorado side, I expect Varlamov. He's 12-11-5, 2.88 goals against, .906 save percentage with a shutout. Grubauer, 9-5-3, 3.29 goals against, and an .895 save percentage. Not great numbers from the goaltenders right now if you're a Colorado fan. Over their last 10, LA's 4-5-1. They won their last game. On the road, they're 8-12-3, which is bad. But in their defense, their home record isn't very good either. Versus the West, they're 13-14-2, which is better than you might expect. And Colorado's 2-6-2 in their last 10. They lost their last game. At home, they're 9-6-5 this year, which is not good enough. And versus the West, they're 8-11-6, which is really not good enough. So could this be a win for LA? Yes. Would it require some kind of an Akbar magnet to signify it as a trap game? No, because LA, over the last month, has been the better team. All right, next game. Florida. Coming off of a big win over Toronto, they get to go to Nashville. And Nashville, coming off of a loss that kind of smarted. So, Florida on the back end of a back-to-back, I don't like their chances against Nashville. I really, really don't. Florida's 18-20-8 now. They're in against the 28-17-4 Nashville Predators. Leading scorers for Florida: Huberdeau, 12 goals, 36 assists. Barkov, 17 goals and 27 assists for him. Hoffman, 23 goals, 19 assists. Hoffman's having a fantastic year. Dadonov, 18 goals, 19 assists. Yandel, 6 goals, 31 assists. Vetrano, 14 goals and 7 assists. Ekblad, 8 goals, 10 assists. McCann, 7 goals, 10 assists. Matheson, 3 goals, 13 assists. The returning Vinny Trocheck now has 3 goals and 12 assists for 15 points. Watch for him to start moving his way up the charts. And we'll see if the return of Trocheck helps turn around the fortunes of the Florida Panthers. I'm not holding my breath, but you just never know. On the Nashville side, of course, Johansson, who's out with a suspension for the next 2 games. He's their leading scorer at 8 goals, 34 assists. We'll see how that affects them tomorrow. Ekholm, 6 goals, 30 assists. Yossi, 7 goals, 27 assists. Forsberg, 18 goals, 10 assists. Fiala, 8 goals, 20 assists. Arvidsson, 18 goals and 7 assists. Smith, 14 goals, 11 assists. Bonino, 11 goals, 11 assists. Sissons, 10 goals, 12 assists. And Ryan Ellis rounds out the scoring with 4 goals and 18 assists for the Nashville Predators. Goaltenders: Luongo played tonight. I expect Reimer tomorrow. Reimer's 8-5, 3.21 goals against, 893 save percentage. Luongo, 9-11-1 now with a 3.23 goals against, 894 save percentage and a shutout. Tonight, Brian Burke was asked on Hockey Central about the play of James Reimer and what's happened to James Reimer. And his answer was that he thought a lot of it was confidence. And I don't really have any reason to dispute that. Reimer's a guy who can get hot, but it feels like with him psychologically it can be a little bit tough. It's sort of the same as a Jake Allen type thing, where when he's on and he's confident in himself, he can be great. So we'll see if he comes out tomorrow night, gets off to a hot start, starts to feel good about himself, if that puts Nashville in a tough spot. Nashville, I expect Saros here. Rinne's 17-12-3, 2.51 goals against, 913 save percentage and three shutouts. Saros is 11-5-1, 2.58 goals against, 910 save percentage and 2 shutouts. I don't have a reason for expecting Saros other than Florida's, a lower, lesser opponent. You throw in your backup usually against those teams. Over their last 10, Florida's now 3-5-2. Of course, they won tonight. On the road, they're 9-14-3, which is bad. Versus the West, they're 3-8-2, which is bad. They're in against Nashville, who are 6-2-2 in their last 10. Of course, they lost their last game. At home, they're now 16-8. Versus the East, they're an impressive 15-4-3. So the record against the other conference, compared to Florida's against the other conference, tells you this should be a win for Nashville. Everything should favor Nashville, but again, how much are they going to be affected by losing Johansson? He is a huge part of their offense and of their team, obviously. He's their leading scorer. With him out, how much is that going to affect him? What other line changes they're going to have to make to accommodate that? And can Florida come in on a back-to-back, have the energy, the drive, and manage to come out with a surprising win? We will definitely see. Now, last game of the night, Columbus, the Blue Jackets, who were first. They enjoyed being first. If they want to get back to being first, they have to get past their expansion brethren in Minnesota. The Minnesota Wild, who right now are not in a playoff spot. They can get right back into it tomorrow. And they can do it by beating their expansion brethren, who are coming off of a loss. So both teams coming off of a loss. Columbus kind of cooling off at the wrong time. But we'll see what happens from here. Because, again, Columbus is a team that's won, I think they've won 12 out of 16 or 11 out of 15. They're somewhere in that range. It's been a nice solid run for them, and now they've got to get back on a run in Minnesota. And this is a Minnesota team that was embarrassed by the Anaheim Ducks. They've got to come out. They've got to come out strong and early. Leading scorers for the 28-16-3 Columbus Blue Jackets: Panarin, 18 goals, 34 assists. Atkinson, 27 goals, 21 assists. Dubois, 17 goals, 25 assists. Jones, 7 goals, 21 assists. Werenski, 9 goals, 18 assists. Foligno, 12 goals, 11 assists. Anderson, still at 15 goals and 7 assists. Murray, 1 goal, 21 assists. Jenner, 9 goals, 12 assists. And there's Wenberg with that solid 1 goal and 18 assists to round out the top 10. For the 23-21-3 Minnesota Wild, their leading scorer is Parise, 19 goals, 22 assists. I shudder to think of where Minnesota would be this year without Zach Parise. And very often since he signed that contract, they've been without Zach Parise. Or at the very least, without this Zach Parise. Granlund is next up with 12 goals, 27 assists. Stahl, 14 goals, 16 assists. Suter, 5 goals, 25 assists. Koivu, 6 goals, 21 assists. Spurgeon, 7 goals and 20 assists for him. Zucker, 13 goals, 11 assists. Dumba, 12 goals, 10 assists, and he underwent surgery. So it's going to be quite a while before Dumba comes back. Coyle, 7 goals, 15 assists, and Aberg on the board with 11 goals, 8 assists. Aberg's been cold for a while, though, before coming over to Minnesota. And there was kind of something funny that I had to retweet it when I saw it, even though I know Aberg didn't play every game for Anaheim, but the idea was he'd been on a team that lost 12 games in a row, goes to Minnesota, loses to Anaheim in that first game. So technically he's been with organizations that have lost 13 games in a row. So Aberg's trying to break a 13-game losing streak tomorrow. Goaltenders, I expect Bobrovsky, if Korpisalo plays again tomorrow, we have officially got a goaltending controversy and then some in Columbus. Bobrovsky's 19-13-1, 2.93 goals against, 903 save percentage, 2 shutouts. Korpisalo's now 9-3-2, 2.95 goals against, 901 save percentage. On the Minnesota side, I expect Dubnyk. He's 17-16-3, 2.64 goals against, 912 save percentage, 1 shutout. Staylock is 6-5, 2.92 goals against average, 894 save percentage, and no shutouts. Over their last 10, Columbus is 6-4. They lost their last game. On the road, they're 14-7-1, which is an excellent road record. And versus the West, they're 9-5-2. Whereas Minnesota, they're 5-5 in their last 10. They lost their last game, as I said, to Anaheim. At home, they're 12-9-3 in versus East. They're a less impressive 7-9-1. Going to be a very interesting night tomorrow. So there you go. 11 games. You're all up to date. Of course, when I say interesting night, I mean tomorrow morning, afternoon, and the night. So there's going to be a lot to watch, a lot to take in, and a lot of movement in the standings. Looking forward to the All-Star break when we can look at where everybody is in the standings, how the playoffs would work out, maybe figuring out who probably wins the Stanley Cup, all that fun stuff. Anyways, that's to come up later. This is the games for tonight. Well, yeah, it's tonight now because it's past midnight where I am, so technically it's tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just tap it upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.